Welcome to a whole wide world of weird. We're here today to show you some strange, and we've got to tell you, this is an interesting one. From butt caffeine to tanorexia, blood drinkers to thumbsuckers, we've got a lot to talk about. You best start preparing yourself now, because we're about to dive deep into the world's wildest addictions. 13. Heil Aphagia. Okay, so we'll kick this thing off with a seriously harmful addiction called Heil Aphagia, which is a form of pica. Pica is an eating disorder where one eats objects that are not meant for human consumption and do not provide any nutritional benefits from doing so. Heil Aphagia takes this concept to a much more jagged place, as a person with this affliction is addicted to eating glass. No joke, people can be addicted to eating glass or objects containing glass. Obviously, this condition can cause all sorts of problems, including obstruction of the intestine, perforation of the intestine and other internal organs, impaction of feces, and more. 12. Coffee enemas. Yes, it is true. There are those out there that are addicted to coffee enemas. Now, for those of you who don't know what an enema is, it's a process through which liquid is flushed into the bottom and then up into the large intestine, which can actually help with numerous medical issues. But they're also used at times by those addicted to alcohol or other illegal substances to boost, speed up, or conceal their use. Coffee enema addictions are believed to come first from an addiction to caffeine and then from a desire to have it be absorbed faster by the body. Don't ask us why anyone would do this, we're just here to be the messenger. 11. Trichotillomania. Now that we've gotten the fancy medical term out of the way, we'll tell you that this addiction of sorts is also known as hair-pulling disorder. This is a real medical problem, and the people who suffer from it suffer greatly. It is an impulse, an urge, and it is recurring. That sounds very much like an addiction to us. At times, their hair-pulling disorder can be very mild, and those with mild symptoms can manage them and prevent them from impacting their daily lives too much. Others, though, suffer greatly, as they pull out their hair in such great volume that it leaves bald spots on their head, eyebrows, or anywhere else hair grows. Both positive and negative stimulus can cause someone with trichotillomania to pull, and many of those afflicted feel a soothing or calming sensation when they are done. It can become pleasurable and works much like other addictions that help to distress, and if you're suffering from trichotillomania, it's suggested that you talk to your doctor about it. 10. Clinical vampirism. We bet that you can guess just what our next addiction entails. If you guessed it has something to do with consuming blood, you're right on the money. Clinical vampirism is also known as Renfield syndrome, and the sufferer becomes obsessed with drinking blood. Oftentimes, the fixation is classified as part of other more commonly known medical diagnoses, such as paraphilia or schizophrenia. But other times, clinical vampires just feel the need to drink blood and possess no other medical conditions. A woman in Pennsylvania named Julia Capes said she consumed human blood every single day for more than 30 years. She said that it helps to keep her beautiful and helps her to feel alive. Wow. 9. Tanorexia. Okay, so that name is no joke. It's actually a condition more commonly known as tanning dependence. We figured we'd take a step back and look at a few less strange, but equally severe addictions. Tanning dependence is for real, and it's defined as an excessive desire to acquire and maintain a suntan by natural or artificial methods. The big problem with tanorexia is that it can be hazardous, as over-tanning and, at times, burning can cause serious repercussions, including cancer. The complex can also damage your skin beyond repair and cause wrinkles, dry skin, blotches, and more. So, if you're suffering from tanorexia, consider professional help before it's too late. 8. Bodybuilding. Alright, while this may be the complete opposite of disorders like anorexia and bulimia, it can be similarly detrimental to one's life. While exercising in moderation is extremely good for your health, obsessive bodybuilding can become just the opposite. Excessive bodybuilding is dangerous for many reasons. Those who suffer will often exercise while injured or for long periods of time without rest, abandon personal relationships and social lives, lose jobs and other important opportunities, and much more. The urge to build and build is often part of a body dysmorphic disorder. This is categorized as an obsessive-compulsive disorder and causes the sufferer to obsess about their so-called flaws and then do whatever they deem necessary to fix it. Scary stuff. 7. Shopping. We all know at least one person who is addicted to shopping, and we can all see just how serious that addiction is. It's even medically recognized and is called oniomania. Those with oniomania can't control the urge, or if they can, it can cause them great distress, much like any other serious addiction. This affliction is also known as compulsive buying disorder, and serious cases can cause a lot of adverse consequences. It is an impulse disorder, and many people who have it also meet all of the necessary criteria for a personality disorder. And it was initially described way back in 1924. Oniomania typically shows up late in adolescence with at least 1.8% to 8.1% of the general population being affected. Many oniomaniacs describe buying things as something that gives them a buzz. It often doesn't matter what is being purchased. There are programs to help oniomaniacs that focus on group and cognitive behavioral therapy as common treatments. Medication in the form of opioid antagonists and selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors may help as well. 6. Tattoos and piercings. This one isn't all that surprising. When's the last time you saw somebody with just one tattoo or piercing if they've got them? People can become addicted to almost any kind of body modification. It's not just a physical addiction to the feeling of being pierced or tattooed, but a psychological one as well. A first piercing or tattoo can cause a lot of anxiety, but once someone makes it over that hurdle, picking their next modification can be extremely exciting. And that's not to mention all the endorphins that are released once they do go under the needle. Now, we're not saying people become completely dependent on having their body poked, but they can absolutely begin to crave it as it activates the body's opioid receptors. Don't worry though, there's really no risk of physical dependency. Body modifications can be fun and provide a rush, followed by a feeling of relaxation. It's always important to remain safe with body modifications, but to each their own, we say. 5. Music. Of course, music is addicting, as many people around the world would tell you. You may even be addicted to it yourself. 2 neuroscientists from McGill University, Robert Zatorre and Valorie Sampoor, performed a study on the various effects music has on the brain while it's being played. While participants' brains were undergoing PET scans, the scientists played them their favorite music and found that the brain's dopamine levels increased when the subjects were anticipating their favorite parts of a song. The part of the brain that controls responses to emotion, the limbic system, showed increased activity at specific peaks in the songs and demonstrated a pattern of brain function that was similar to a musically induced high. You could say the power of music to be addictive is fairly obvious. People spend so much money buying music, stereo systems, and headphones, and going to concerts, but who knew it was almost entirely for the feeling it provides to the brain? Pretty interesting, isn't it? 4. Soap, laundry detergent, dirt, wood, insects, and beyond. We're going to dive back into the weirder stuff, and that means revisiting pica disorder for a moment, considering glass is not the only non-food item people can be drawn to. That's right, soap, dirt, wood, and insects are all common snacks that someone with pica may choose to eat. And no, eating those things is not good for a person. There are also reports of people eating things like paper, chalk, paint chips, cigarette butts, hair, buttons, glue, gravel, clay, rocks, and pretty much anything else you could think of that a human is not supposed to ingest. Pica can typically be tied back to psychological issues or nutritional deficiencies. And if you're suffering, you should talk to someone to find out which it is for you. Corrective measures can be taken, and they should be, before you ingest too much of something that could potentially kill you. 3. Thumbsucking. You know, it's not just babies and toddlers that suck their thumbs. In fact, as people grow older, some retain the habit or addiction to sucking their thumbs well into adulthood. Typically, children will stop doing it by the time they reach 5 years old, but many continue past that, and it can cause severe damage to their teeth and change the shape of their oral cavity. Thumbsucking can cause difficulty speaking and swallowing, increase the chances for infection of communicable diseases, and may even be responsible for psychological problems that come from social rejection and taunting. There are many ways to try and break a thumbsucking habit, all of which fall into 2 categories: appliance therapy and preventive therapy. So, if you're still a thumbsucker, know that there is help out there for you. 2. Nasal spray. The excessive use of nasal sprays can produce a physical dependence, which in our books is pretty darn close to an addiction. These sprays work by shrinking your nasal passage's blood vessels, and once they wear off, they swell back up. Nasal sprays aren't typically meant for more than 3 days of use. Otherwise, they can cause what is known as rebound congestion. Rebound congestion happens due to the use of a medication, and users of nasal sprays may find themselves trying to use more and more spray to alleviate the problem. The problem is, using the spray more and more can cause even worse rebound congestion. What a vicious cycle. Skipping a dose or a day can really make for terrible congestion, and that congestion is a withdrawal symptom of not using the nasal spray. This sounds like a huge repetitive mess, so our best advice is to use them as recommended, or else run the risk of turning into a permanent mouth breather. We've seen some strange addictions so far, and we still have one more to go. But first we'd like to ask, what's the weirdest thing you've ever heard someone could get addicted to? Heck, have you ever been addicted to anything odd yourself? Let us know in the comments below. 1. Urine. We didn't really know this, but people can become addicted to drinking urine, and it's maybe a little more than a bit strange. Drinking urine is known as urophagia, and the thought of consuming it may seem a little disgusting to you, but in ancient times, urine was used for all kinds of reasons. Once upon a time, urine had all sorts of alternative medicinal uses, as it was believed to treat many different health issues. Urine was also used in various cosmetics and was even added to toothpaste in ancient Rome. Anyway, the practice is still around today, and it can apparently be addictive. As one woman named Carrie can show you, if you plug her name and urine drinker into a search. Be warned though, it's a bit stomach-turning. If you enjoyed this video, do us a huge favor and give it a like. Subscribe to our channel to keep up with all of our informative and entertaining videos. And be sure to check out the one right here that you should watch next. We picked it out just for you.